in. And they play the next tune and then shifts it again. They were all multi-instrumentalists at age 17 and 18, and they knew all the songs together. And I was like, how is this possible that these random kids are just so incredibly musically talented? So anyway, that's one of the features of the Appalachian, where Georgia meets North Carolina meets Virginia. So anyway, last night I was talking to my co-teacher and back to meditation. So I explained to her my vision of how I want the class to go and what part meditation will play in it. And she is interesting because she is not a Buddhist. She's Jewish. But when she was 26, she and her husband got connected to, that's one of my neighbors coming for dinner. He's on his way to my place. He won't find me for an hour. She and he, Jane and Barry, got connected to transcendental meditation, the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. Any TM people here? Anybody done TM? Ben has done TM. So transcendental meditation is very popular back in the 70s. And you get a mantra and you can't tell anyone. It's your secret mantra. And you just recite the mantra. And people who stick with it have a remarkable transformation in their lives. Although TM is not my style at all, transcendental meditation, most of the people I know, including a cousin in my family, and Jane and Barry and half a dozen other people, everyone who has started this program has grown in patience, has grown in kindness, has calmed down, has kind of put their feet on the ground. So it is a reliable method taught by the Maharishi, who's an Indian guru. So I explained to Jane what I had in mind from the Chan point of view, including our meditation handbook. I'm going to teach that and this and this and this. And I said, and what do you think? And how can you fit in to what I've outlined for you? She said, well, she said, you know that what I'm going to teach in the way of meditation is very different from what you outlined. She said, it's much more transcendental. The idea that no matter where you begin, you can transcend your current state and find a better place. And she said, is that okay with you? And I said, absolutely fine. No problem. And so we will be teaching meditation and performance from two very different perspectives, and yet it's still the human mind. And I think that's so interesting that this thing that we all share, this thing called the mind, with our six senses, gathering information, and then this amazing experience we have, which is I'm here inside and you're all outside. And when I have a thought, you don't know. And when you have a thought, I don't know. But I just have this sense that there has to be some place that we share. There has to be a ground or a space or an experience that I can reliably say, I know what you're experiencing. And it's called da 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 da. And you saw, heard, felt, intuited, imagined this or that. And yet, I don't know. I'm kind of broken from all of you somehow. So where is that veil where I stop and you all start? Is it based on the senses? Well, I can shut my eyes and you're all gone. As soon as I close my eyes, I don't know you're out there. But if somebody said something, oh, my ears went, no, it's still there. How strange, right? That we all grow up having this border, this boundary where I cannot extend beyond and none of you can come in. And yet, religious people worldwide, regardless, Roman Catholic, Jewish, Transcendental Meditation Hindu, Chan Buddhist, will all tell you there are saints and sages and evolved teachers in those traditions that say, in meditation, I felt a kinship, a connection that the Chinese call tongti dabe, same body, great compassion, shared body, where that this barrier that is the skin, but I don't have skin on my eyes, and I still have I can't see my hands right now, and it's, oh, there they are. How strange. And yet my ears are 360. How come we get used to these limits of our senses and yet are clueless about what's going on? Who knows why I have this awareness of being broken from everybody until I really sit and meditate, and logically, earth, air, fire, water, Buddha, nature, I can't see any difference. And yet, that's it. I'm stuck. How frustrating when a couple falls in love and wants to, lose their boundaries. You can't. There's always that sense of brokenness. What is that? And in meditation, how is it that we can somehow what do we do? Dissolve that boundary or extend it or erase? What happens when people get that sense of tongti, of identity, of connection? It's very interesting. And this is something to investigate. Okay, now, more importantly, is if I consider going around to everybody and asking each of you, what do you do when you meditate? And what happened? I was thinking maybe I'll ask that today. I thought, no, that's not good. Because why? Some of us who are new to meditation have no access. We're just we're here willing to sit, but what's going on is so full of static and so chaotic that there's nothing to grab. You can't get it, you can't know it, you can't say it. So I thought, just wait on that one. But and yet we all come at it with these different approaches, So I said to Jane, sure, TM, teach that. If these people who come to the Supreme Court temporarily blocked the Trump administration from deporting a group of Venezuelans under the Alien Enemies Act. Isn't that good news? Meanwhile, we were meditating, weren't we? Talk about feeling blocked from one from the other. Oh my goodness. Okay, so she's there teaching TM. If those musicians who want to learn about transforming stage fright, or how to improve how to get past a rut in their musicianship, any method that they can use that works, great. Our meditation handbook, some of you have a copy. Please, if you don't have one, request one. It's down in our blessings hall. In that meditation handbook, we have 5 or 6 different techniques used in Chan, in our Chan/Zen meditation technique. That's our home school's technique. There's 5 or 6 different methods. There's Zhi and there's Guan, calming and contemplating. There's contemplations, Guanxiang, different method. There's Can Hua Tou. There's looking into a meditation topic. There's Nian Fo Chan, reciting the Buddha's name meditation. There's mantra Chan, etc. Lots of different methods, all included under the umbrella of Chan. Which one are you doing? This today. What are you doing tomorrow? Something different. Go for it. Some people, my colleague, the former monk Heng Chao, he has had one method for 50 years. He's used one method, Om Mani Padme Hum. Only one method, and has profound states. So what are you using, you yourself, and what is happening when you do it? That's kind of like saying which drop of water is more wet than the other drop. It's like turn the tap and out comes the water. It's really hard to pick a drop out and say this is it. So I want to ask that question. But all of those techniques, including non-Buddhist techniques, are useful and helpful. I told that story about the Catholic bishop who was sitting beside me and just sat for an hour, just like that. It's like a rock. And I said, Bishop John, what form of Buddhist meditation are you using? He said, Buddhist meditation, I'm using the Jesus prayer. Lord Jesus, have mercy. Inhale, exhale. It's called the Jesus prayer. Lord Jesus, Son of God. Lord Jesus, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. Lord Jesus, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. Lord Jesus, have mercy. And he used that mantra to deeply calm himself. So, works, right? The mind that we're looking at is the same. It's the same mind. Okay. All of these techniques are internal. They're all going on without a sound. And I don't know what you're doing, and you don't know what I'm doing. That's really important, that this meditation is a personal, psycho-spiritual, so intellect and spirit activity that includes the body. Meditation is a full body experience. You can't meditate as a spectator. You can, but what's the point? That's kind of like watching people eat, right? You're reading the menu and not ordering the food. So and you can't audit. To audit meditation, there's no, punking, there's no use. That's really pointless. You actually have to do it. You have to sit there. And while you sit there, your body has to get used to this experience because your knees hurt temporarily, your back hurts temporarily. Your legs can go to sleep, and you have to wait that out. So there's a lot of physical getting used to that happens in Chan. And there, in Berkeley, where I live the rest of the year, there is the Berkeley Buddhist Temple, that is Japanese Jodo Shinshu. There is the Berkeley Buddhist Monastery, that's us, Chinese Chan. There is the Berkeley Zendo, that's Japanese Zen, American style. There is the Jodo Shu Temple, not the Jodo Shinshu. They're really careful. Hikashi Hongwanji and Nishi Hongwanji in Kyoto, Western Basic Temple and Eastern Basic Temple. They never talked to each other. They were rivals. So they came to America. They never talked to each other. The Jodo Shu and the Jodo Shinshu. So they're both in Berkeley. They're all there. So all these different schools of Buddhism, all using slightly different methods. And it's so interesting. You can go from one to the other, and they're the Zen, the Berkeley Zendo, the Berkeley Zen Center, they have a very different approach than we do. And you go down the road and there is the Zhongtai, Silicon Valley, Xigu, Taigu, the Sunnyvale Zen Center from Taiwan's Zhongtai, Zhongtai Chansi. They're really popular. Everybody wears a uniform. Everybody has a name tag. Everybody takes their shoes off and puts them perfectly side by side. They all sit in straight rows, and it's very military. And you know what else? It's very popular in Silicon Valley. A lot of people like the regimentation of it. Come to the Berkeley Buddhist Monastery where we are, and it's like, okay, men on this side, women on this side. Don't move, And it's very casual, and it's our style of Chan. It's not regiment. So, okay, which one is right? Which one is wrong? That's not the question. It's which one works for you. Pick one that works to help you. They say tame the monkey mind, to tame the wild horse of the mind that is running. There are a lot of analogies for the mind inside the meditator. It's like a monkey who's got a banana, but he looks over at the other branch. That's a better banana. He jumps over for that banana, right? The one he had is perfectly good. He wants the other one. Your mind, has a perfectly good thought. Not good enough. He wants another thought. No, the thoughts, boom, boom, boom. Why can't you sit still and meditate? Well, there's a lot of bananas to eat. That one looks really good. So, right. How do you tame the monkey mind? So that's the question. And for me personally, every day is different. Every day when I go to meditate, something different is happening. It's like an endless performance of drama and news reports and documentaries and nonfiction and fiction and romance and failure. It's just like a TV show that never quits. And it's all happening somewhere between my ears. How strange that is. And you have to get in there. You are the audience. You are the director of the show. You are the star of the show. You're the playwright who wrote the play, wrote the words. You're the producer of it. And yet, who says we have to go through this whole thing? And yet, if you want to meditate, everybody has the same experience. There are no shortcuts. There's no person you can pay to change this experience. It is the same for everybody. You have to come to grips with your mind and its contents and somehow tame it. That's the experience. Now, what's it like when you do? Today at 12:30, we have a series called Master Empty Cloud's Picture Biography. Master Empty Cloud is our grand teacher. He's our teacher's teacher. His name is Xu Yunlao Hoshan in Chinese. He lived to be 120, and he was doubtless the most important Chan monk in 200 years or so. He brought all of the 5 different schools of Chan back together when they had been scattered and broken historically, among other things. Now, today's episode, we're explaining a book that has 200 scenes from his life. If you live 120 years, you've got a lot to choose from. And today's story was particularly interesting. And that's why I wanted to bring it to your attention, because if you say, tame the monkey mind as it jumps from tree to tree, how hard that is when we ourselves are when the credits roll, our name is on every one of the credits, just me. And yet if you try to find the me, who is the audience, the playwright, the stars, the scriptwriter, there's nobody there. When you get the me, you discover it's an illusion. How weird is that? And yet it sure seems real on the screen as the credits roll. Okay, so that's our reality when we start to meditate. When we get along the path a little bit, what's it like? This episode we said today was just, it's one of those. So here's the story. The year is 1902. It's Zhongnan Mountain, which is in Shanxi province in China, kind of in the west, northwest. And our hero, Master Empty Cloud, is a hermit. He's living with other hermits separately in, like, every hermit's got, 5 acres or something. And they don't see each other usually. Sometimes you can see the smoke, cooking smoke from a fire, or you can smell the smoke, but rarely. You can't hear the sounds of wood being chopped. It's too distant. But they do check up on each other periodically, especially if somebody, to see if everybody's, hasn't cut their leg with a hatchet or fallen off a cliff or something. They kind of check in on each other, but mostly they live alone. That's why they go out to the mountains. So there are two particular, I guess three particular hermits who think, you know, we haven't seen Master Empty Cloud for several months. It's New Year's, and even though we don't have much of a social network on New Year's, everybody goes by to say Happy New Year to each other. In Chinese, in China and Vietnam and all, Guonian is a big time. It's the Lunar New Year's. In Vietnam, it's called Tet, right? Tet. So they didn't see him this year. So three of the hermits get together and say, let's go check up on him. So they go down to where his hut is, and it's January or February, and it's snowed. These are real mountains. And the snow fell, and they see snow all around his hut. No human footprints, but tiger tracks. It's not really tiger, it's a leopard. There's native leopards here in Zhongnan Mountains in China. And they're large carnivorous cats, right? So they're, whoa, you don't suppose. They think, oh my goodness. So they go to the door and they push open the door to his ramshackle hut. And they look in, and here's Master Empty Cloud. Maybe he's leaning a little bit, but he's sitting upright in meditation. Oh, he's been meditating. So they go up beside him and they take one of these, a yin qing, exactly like this, and they go by his ear. And he like, a meditator and has such incredible control over his body and mind that if he chooses voluntarily, he can cross his legs and do what's called entering samadhi, ru ding, ru samme, and sit upright. And all of his inner processes just get so quiet that his heartbeat stops, but picks up in another way. His lungs stop breathing, but they still work horizontally through his skin pores. His metabolism transforms, so he's not worried about elimination or defecation or whatever. And he is very happily sitting upright in meditation, unmoving for 2 weeks. And they say, ban yue, right, for half a month, for a fortnight. And you go, how is that possible? Good question. Given where I am now in my meditation, if I can make it through an hour without having to exert my patience because of the pain in my knees or the pain in my back or the pressure of my monkey mind, I'm doing good. And I remember getting started, I could sit in full lotus for like the most, like 15 minutes. And then bit by bit, 20, and then 25. And I would add 5-minute increments. And after a year, I determined I had to do this. After a year, I was able to sit for 30 minutes. And then I extended it. By the time I got to Gold Mountain Monastery in San Francisco in 1973, I was able to sit 45 minutes, but not an hour. And at Gold Mountain, every meditation sit was 60 minutes. The incense was 60 minutes long. And so that last 15 minutes, I would be, I can't, drop your leg, all of the numbness and the tinglies went away. And then I would hope nobody saw me, pull it back up after a minute or two and continue. But I couldn't get past like 45 minutes. And then another similar, I was a Berkeley MA candidate then, and I had a San Francisco State MA candidate in Asian Studies, Gary Linebarger, who was also coming to Gold Mountain. He and I were roughly the same age, both are, college grad program, both interested in Chinese Buddhism. And he could sit exactly the same amount as I could, but we both knew that we were still falling short compared to the 60-minute standard at Gold Mountain. So we would always sit side by side and dare each other to sit a little longer and see who would break first, who had to put their legs down first. And, you'd sit and you're like, my knees are on fire, 10 more seconds, 9, 8, like that. And I knew that he was doing the same and I was doing the same. And we would pace each other and just try to, nobody wanted to sit less long, competed to see who could hold out. And one day we were in a retreat, a Chan retreat, 7-day meditations session, 11 hours, 12 hours a day of sitting, and I guess 13 hours. And this is like day 3, and Gary and I were doing this thing, and we knew that we still couldn't make it to an hour, but it was kind of like, I was sitting there and I was just about to drop my leg, and we still had like 10 minutes to go. And I opened my eyes before I did, and I saw this yellow robe right in front of me, standing there. And I looked up, and here's Master Hua. And Master Hua's going. And I'm like, okay, is that ding? Made it through the hour. And Gary had not, it was like, oh, you can do it. It's the mind. It's not the legs, it's the mind. And just having Shifu knowing that, what I was going through and that I was just about to drop. And then Linebarger told me Shifu did the same thing with him in a different way. But he was totally tuned in to what we were going through in increasing our patience. And at a certain point, it is simply kind of brute patience. You just wait. And you think, why? As soon as the bell rings, ding, and you drop your legs, it's like all the drama. What was such a big deal? It wasn't life and death. You were just had pain in your legs. What is pain? Who is hurting? So you use all these techniques. You say, if you can wait 5 more minutes, I'll give you a cookie at lunchtime. You want a cookie? Just wait. Bad knees, no cookie. If you quit. So you whatever works to get you to sit a little longer, because in this kind of meditation, a little longer is good. A little longer is good. So I learned to sit full lotus, and since our session stopped, my legs are I'm still here. And this is the thing that really changed me was I became one of the rotation of Master Hua's translators. And if he's sitting on the Dharma seat and it's time to lecture, the lectures are 90 minutes. And as a translator, of course, however long the teacher is speaking, the translator has to be there that long, 90 minutes. And if, when you're translating for a teacher like that, you're in his circle of light, sort of, you're sitting beside him. His words have to come out of your mouth in another language. And when he's speaking and you're taking the notes, you have to be totally, to get the gist. You can't be thinking about lunch while you're translating. You got to be on it. So I got in the habit of sitting for 90 minutes because you drop your knees, drop your legs, and you kind of, quit in front of your teacher. So every time I lecture now, I cross my legs and they stay crossed for the 90 minutes of our lectures. And if I have a cramp, I drop my legs and put them right back or something. But this is how you can imagine. And that's an hour and a half. It's not 2 weeks. And the difference between me sitting there being proud of sitting for 90 minutes compared to what in the world is going on with Master Xu Yun when he can sit still for 2 weeks. Now, is that the goal? Do we all want to sit for 2 weeks like Master NP Cloud? Not for sure. It's so dramatic that he did that. And I think it's a good bet that he doesn't always sit that long. Being a hermit on the mountain, nobody knows, nobody's keeping track until the 3 monks walked into his hut to check on him. He probably meditates in the morning, gets up, goes to the bathroom, makes lunch, and takes care of, fixing leaks, getting water, chopping wood, patching holes in the roof and all. And then he meditates again, probably in the evening, just as it gets dark, after chanting or something. So he lives normally, but he can shift into that mode where something is very profound. Just medical science would say impossible. You must be mistaken. To sit still for 2 weeks means you're dead. And clearly no one can do that. Well, he did. And there are other stories. There's the story of the living Buddha of Gold Mountain, Jinshan Huofo, in Hong Kong, who was insulted. He was invited to a rich man's house in Hong Kong for a meal, and the rich man was he was Chongyang. He wanted to be British. He was Chinese. So in his house, it was all British style. He ate with knives and forks, plates, and not with bowls and chopsticks. And they invited the Jinshan Huofo, and he came and played with his knives and forks and really offended the Chinese businessman who was pretentious and trying to be a pseudo British citizen. So finally, the host, the man who wanted to be Western, got so upset at the monk being kind of rude and crude and laughing. He was laughing at the host for being pretentious. So he said, look, this monk has got absolutely no samadhi whatsoever. And Jinshan Huofo said, oh. He said, well, right then, he said. And he put the knives and forks down, and at the dinner table, sat upright, crossed his legs, and settled in. And they're all like, what's going on? The whole family. And that was lunch. They came back at dinner. He was still there. Came back at breakfast the next morning. Still there. Oh, people are getting really panicked. Is he dead? What if he died here? What happens if the monk dies at your house? Are you in trouble? And so that 2 days, 3 days, he just sat like that. And so the whole family is like going nuts. All the daughters and the businessman is just totally lost face. So he goes and he runs down to the nearest temple to look for Luo Guo Chanshu, who was the monk, the one who introduced the living Buddha to his family for offerings. And he says, oh, help, help, help. That monk is just swallow lie. What do we do? He's just misbehaved. Oh my God. My family's in just, panicking. And so Dharma Master Lugwa says, well, what did you do? Why did you set him off? He says, I don't know. I told him he didn't have any samadhi. Lugwa Pasha says, see, he said, you shouldn't have said that. He said, let's go. We'll fix it. So they go back and Lugwa Pasha goes, and the Lugwa Pasha says, Hofo, he says, living Buddha, he says, your host apologizes. He says, you've got a little bit of samadhi after all. And so he opens his eyes and smiles and says, oh, all right. Well, Amitofo, I appreciate the offerings, he says, gets off the chair and walks out the door, right? So that happened in the 1920s. That was just there. These are two men who have real control over body and mind. And if you compare it to us, who pretty much, we just don't go there. You want to get angry, you get angry. Your eyes run out, you're looking at things you shouldn't look at. Hard to control them, hard to even notice you're doing it, right? If you, somebody challenges you, somebody insults your mother, ooh, in America, that's an immediate trigger. Yo mama, so fat, and you go, he's pretty quick, boom, instant. What are some of the best? There's a whole bunch of yo mama jokes. Do people know yo mama jokes? They're really great. So, of course, they're offensive. They're totally offensive. But if you can go through all those situations unmoving, it's like, that's fine. You don't know my mother. That says more to me about you than it does about her, So if you can really be that way, most of us can't. Most of us hit that button, get the reaction. Why? No control over body and mind. Clueless. We're not taught it. Who teaches it's good to transform your anger? We are taught, diss me, mofo, and I'm going to, pull out my gun and shoot you. And people do. Oh, them sneakers. Kill somebody for their sneakers in the city where I live, Oakland, California, next to Berkeley. Happens all the time. We have no control over our bodies and minds. We just, whatever rises up, that's it, right? Compare that to the living Buddha of Gold Mountain, who hears an insult and he goes, oh, all right, yeah, I agree. I don't have any samadhi. 3 days later, oh, okay, So that's interesting. How do they get there? What's that about? Now, the purpose of meditation is not to perform these shows like Living Buddha, or to like go to sleep after you put the lunch on the stove, or to not go to sleep but enter samadhi. That's not the point. The point is that meditation takes us into this thing called the mind, and it's a deep ocean. And with the Dharma, you have a map to that deep ocean. You can travel it. It's a path people have gone before. But if we don't do it ourselves, it might as well be a lost treasure trove somewhere on a desert island, and it has nothing to do with us, right? But as soon as you start to practice, study the Dharma, here's the map. Here's an example. Here are guides. Here's encouragement. Here's a community that helps you do it. And there's a lot of ways to get there. So, okay, that's pretty much, I think I'm pretty much done. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. You get to see the Buddha Hall. We could do our meditation here. That was always a possibility instead of our blessings hall. That building is that's not going to be here forever. It's going to be removed and replaced. But for the time being, next week we'll be back there as usual. But in the future, we might come up and sit here. So I like sitting in a round. Sitting in the circle is very different. Okay, meditation handbooks are available for folks who would like one if you don't have one. Sam, anything to announce or? Is that who's going to be watching tomorrow? Okay, good.
And then also next month we will in June we do have a 7-day Japan meditation. So you can get on our website or our notice board.
Is who's coming? Jinxing. Heng Sure. Good. Okay. Oh, yeah. That's right. What's his name? That's good. The two of them are. He's also Hong Kong. He's Guangdonghua. Yeah. Lovely. Good stuff. Okay. Let's make a wish. Send out our goodness. May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with hearts of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may our minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward. May all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light dispel the darkness of our endless night. Because our hearts are one, this world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise.